up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. We do have monumentally huge topics to discuss. Firstly, Barcelona are in the market for a left back as one of the top players they want to reinforce this summer. They want to look in-house or in the free market, and they have narrowed down to two options in Alex Valle and also Sergi Cardona of Las Palmas. But secondly and mainly, their top priority this summer, of course, is to sign a pivot. We've been linked with Amadou Onana, Mats Weiffer, and also Martin Zubimendi alongside Joao Akieme, as Deco is looking for the ideal midfielder for Barcelona to invest a lot of money in this summer. We have some updates on big summer sales as well in Araujo and Rafinha, updates on the new manager role, injury updates around the first team as well, a possible Oriol Romeu exit in the summer, and finally we do have a big interview that Raccoon have conducted with the president Joan Laporta, and he gave us updates on everything around the club. Messi coming back, potential Pep return, buying players, selling players on the stadium, Negreira case, on the coach who's going to be, given all the power to sign a new coach, on the Joao staying. He gave us basically updates on absolutely everything, and I have covered everything for you. So before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below, please. Let's try to get to 200 likes this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into the video, this video is sponsored by LU Soccer. LU Soccer is one of the most versatile replica jersey websites on the market. They have a variety of different items from different clubs, from CONCACAF, Serie A, Bundesliga, Ligue 1. They have a jersey from any country, any league, basically in the world, and of course they do have some Barcelona merchandise. I do have here two items they have sent me, which I think is absolutely fantastic. One is this limited edition black kit. I believe this was a concept. It looks absolutely beautiful. Of course, it has the Spotify logo there, and also this one is what caught my eye the most. It is this kind of retro. It has the first ever badge for Barcelona in the middle there as well. It looks so sick, and they have different options very similar to this one for all different clubs and country. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and check out LU Soccer today for the best prices and also the best quality. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. Now, we're first going to be discussing Barcelona's mission to sign a left back this summer. This is coming in from Gabriel Sanz and Mundo Deportivo. He's come out saying that Alex Valle and also Sergio Cardona are the two left backs that are on the list of Deco. Both players are aware of a transfer, if there is any, because the club don't want to discard it at all. It would already be done for next season. Sergio Cardona is one of the sensations of the season, and he's one of the greatest market opportunities in the summer. He finishes his contract on June the 30th and already sounds for Barcelona even during the past winter transfer market. So Deco is going to decide in the summer who will be the person that will be giving coverage and competition to Alejandro Balde next season. Will it be Alex Valle or the free agent Sergi Cardona? I will say this, with Cardona being free, I do think he has that lead in the race. I understand Alex Valle is La Masia, he's in-house, but we need someone for the season. We need someone to really push Alejandro Balde. I don't think Alex Valle will do that, although I think he's a great talent. I think what the club will do with Alex Valle is maybe do a little Chandriyad Estanis Pedrola operation where they kind of sell him but retain basically everything in his future, sell-on clause, buyback option, all these things like that, and then bring in Sergio Cardona on a free transfer. If Cardona was not free, I would definitely favor Alex Valle, but with Cardona having the experience in La Liga, playing under Pimienta, and of course with him being free as well, it will be beneficial to Barcelona. But we'll wait and see what happens. Leave me the thoughts down in the comments below. Who would you pick, Cardona or Valle, to be that coverage and competition for Balde next season? Of course, you do have maybe Cancelo being an option as well. I think Julian Araujo can play at left back. I think he will, of course, predominantly will be the backup right back for Cancelo next season. Hopefully, though, I'm not quite too sure on that. I'm just hoping for that. But on the left back situation, we'll wait and see what happens, but definitely a position that Barcelona want to reinforce this summer. But the main priority for Barcelona in the upcoming summer transfer window, of course, will be to sign a pivot. We failed last summer with Romeu. We've got to go out there this summer and sign someone of the highest quality. Sport have come out saying that Barcelona have decided to invest big money into signing a defensive pivot in the summer. It will be the club's priority. Now, on that second part, Fabrizio Romano did confirm this in a live stream that he was doing on deadline day over on Kick. He did say that Barcelona wants to sign a top defensive midfielder this summer. Martin Zubimendi is a name that is being mentioned, but also Arsenal and Bayern Munich are interested in his services. If we can get Zubimendi, man, I mean, you cannot get more Barcelona than Zubimendi. He just ticks every box. He fits the mold to absolute pure perfection. But of course, with the competition, also with the release clause being active, whether Laporta wants to give that kind of money to a team that fought against us in the Negreira case remains to be seen. There are, of course, other options. Another option could be Amadou Onana, with Luis Rojo reporting that for the pivot position right now, Amadou Onana is in pole position. He would cost around 50 million euros. I'm thinking, look, chuck an extra 10 and you get Zubimendi. Like, if Onana is going for like 40, 30, there's an argument to be had. But when he's just 10 million shy of your dream target, why not? Again, the touted market value of Onana, what Everton would sell him for, is 50. Maybe Everton will go into summer and say, you know what, we sit in the Premier League, everyone needs a pivot this summer, we want 60 or 70. Then you're thinking, bloody hell, might as well just go for Zubimendi at that point. I think Onana is a good player. I think he's more so, again, a player that suits the mold of a double pivot, not a single pivot, and especially not a pivot that Barcelona need, the one that's, you know, good on the ball, can stop in a, you know, transitional play, can make those interceptions. I think he can do that, but I think mainly in possession and build-up play, I don't think he's the exact ideal option. A good option, but not as ideal as Zubimendi, in my opinion. Now, the final option is Joao Kimmich, with Gabriel Sanz and Deportivo reporting that Manchester City will also want Kimmich in the summer, in addition to Barcelona and other top European clubs as well. Kimmich's situation remains to be seen at the moment, whether or not Bayern Munich will offer him a new deal or not. He's now entering the final year of his contract with Bayern Munich. So either sell him or renew him this summer will be the German club's list of objectives for the player. With Kimmich, great player. I think he fits the mold definitely a bit better than Onana. I think they're kind of on the same level, but I think on the ball, Kimmich is better. But with Kimmich, man, he's 29, pushing on 30, he's in his prime. We need someone that fits the kind of the medium and long term. I think Kimmich is more term or short, if you're lucky, medium term signing. He's going to cost the same amount probably as Zubimendi and Onana, around 50 to 60 million euros. Look, I think the priority or the option is as clear cut as it can get. I think Zubimendi ticks almost every single box. It's just now down to, pursuing him as an official target. I would firstly approach him, see if he's interested in the move. Now he's played one season in the Champions League with Sociedad. He might change his mind. Maybe he's still very firm that he wants to stay with Sociedad for the rest of his life. If that's the case, fair enough to him. But until I hear that report, I'm going to still be holding out on my dream. So I'll wait and see how things turn out. It's going to be, I think, alongside the manager appointment, the signing of a pivot this summer is absolutely integral, and one that Laporta and Deco, dare I say it, cannot mess up on. Now, a saga that we'll have to deal with in the beginning of the summer will be, of course, the permanent transfers of Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo, who are both currently on loan from Atletico Madrid and Manchester City, respectively. And on Joao Felix, with Xavi not continuing, he does have a big remontada. Now, Franco Ras from Sport, who again, top sources come out saying that Xavi's departure will help with Joao Felix staying at Barcelona on a permanent basis. Joan Laporta, Deco, Jorge Mendes all want him to continue at Barcelona, and so does the player as well. He's absolutely spot on, Franco Ras. I mean, now I'm a bit worried that we might spend actual money for Felix. I think, again, the priority is clear. Firstly, he has to finish the season with double digits in both goals and assists. I believe he has 6 goals, 4 assists at the moment. Once he hits double digits, I think that's when he can have contention. At the moment, I don't think he's worth it in any capacity whatsoever. With Felix, it's got to be in the region of 30 million, 40 million as a total package, I would say. If they're pushing more Atletico Madrid for a higher amount, you go again for a loan. I'm really, really cautious with the club spending actual money from our transfer budget on Joao Felix. I think if we do go out and actually spend money on Joao Felix, I think that's the end of Ansu Fati at Barcelona as well. Then the club will probably use his money to probably bring in Joao Felix, I think Ansu Fati will probably sell for around 30-40 million euros. Joao Felix, that's how much the club want to spend on him. Of course, Atletico Madrid apparently asking for around 70 or 80. But keep your eyes on Felix, especially with Xavi not staying. It does definitely increase the chance of Felix staying here in the long term. But of course, whether Xavi stays here or not, the Joao that we all really want to stay on a permanent basis is of course Joao Cancelo, and there are reports coming in saying that Cancelo's price could be around 25 million euros this summer, but Barcelona will try to lower it because they feel they have an advantage and the player absolutely desire is to join the Blaugrana and no one else. So again, if we can get Cancelo for around 20, that is pure perfection. That is a Deco masterclass beyond belief. Anything under 30 as a package or anything like that, we will absolutely take. Not only is he worth it, you're getting a top fullback both at left back and at right back, and you've got him sorted for probably around 2 or 3 years in the first team until he drops off. As soon as his pace and his technical ability drops off a bit, that's when you probably want to move him on. But he's probably been our best player this season consistently from August until when he joined the end of August or September, we could say, until this day. I think him and Xavi have been the most consistent players for Barcelona, and Xavi was injured by the end of November, was it, or end of October, wherever the case may be. So we'll wait and see what happens with the two Joaos, but definitely the club do want to sign them permanently this summer, and now just comes down to technicalities and the details of the operation. Now, the biggest news in regards to transfer-wise around Barcelona has been the story about Lucas Bergvall, who we have been talking about a lot on the channel over the past month or 2 months or so as a potential new signing for Barcelona this summer to come into Barca Athletic and then earn its way into the first team. The deal was almost over the line. Everything was agreed with his current club and the player as well, but then Tottenham came in last second trying to hijack the deal, and in the end they did. He did sign with Tottenham on his 18th birthday, I believe. It was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know why, but the Barcelona fan base, mainly on Twitter, exploded. Oh, we lost another target, another talent to Spurs. We're losing on talents first. Lucas Bergvall, Echeverri, Guller, Moscardo. We're losing out on these talents. I'm there like, tranquilo. This player chose Tottenham, over Barcelona because he was given more money and guaranteed a first team spot. Where at Barcelona, they're offering less money and of course earning your way into the first team. This is what Barcelona do with these youngsters. They don't, spend the money, bring them in, and put them in the first team. Look at PSG with Moscardo, City with Echeverri when he does join, I believe, in December or next December. Anyways, all these clubs, the reason why they get these players from Barcelona is because they're giving them more money and guarantees. Where Barcelona is saying you have to come here, you'll earn a fair amount of money, and you're gonna have to earn it. And he chose the other way around. Now, Matteo Merito came out saying that Lucas Bergvall has always had Barcelona in his mind since they contacted him, but his family believed that Spurs was the right step for this moment in his career. In the past 48 hours of the transfer window, the family went from talking about what they would like to live in Barcelona to completing the opposite decision. Tony Juan Martin came out saying that Barcelona had advanced Lucas Bergvall, but his agent pushed for certain aspects, playing with Spurs' offer. Barcelona already made their effort and did not want to enter into any auctions. Again, Barcelona put their best foot forward, their best offer. Take it or leave it. He said leave it. Fair enough to him. Now, some of the reasons why he picked Tottenham over Barcelona, of course, guaranteed first team spot, more money. Of course, Barcelona, we don't really know who the coach is going to be next season. Of course, he can already speak English. If he comes to Spain, he'll have to probably learn a bit of Spanish. Premier League, top 2 leagues in the world, and Spurs having a great stadium. And also, don't forget Dujan Kulusevski, of course, the other Swedish player playing for Tottenham, also talked to Lucas Bergvall and convinced him as well. The little Swedish connection helped out Tottenham quite a bit. And I just want to end off this segment about something that Tony Juan Martin said, which I absolutely 100% agree on. He came out saying that it seems right to me that Barcelona does not lose its head. Even though Bergvall may be a promising player, how are you going to guarantee him a first team spot, which Tottenham did for a boy that has moved so quickly, who couldn't even prove anything? He has to earn it, like what Fermin Lopez did, what Hector Fort did, and what Kubarsi did this season. Could not agree more. If Barcelona offered him a guaranteed first team spot, would he have joined? I don't know, but it's those little factors that you have to really stay calm with on these youngsters. Look at Arda Güler. If we put in more money last summer, gave him everything he wanted, he would probably join Barcelona. Look at him at Real Madrid. He's played about a combined 100 minutes this season, probably spread across 4 or 5 different games. Moscardo barely got his deal over the line with PSG. We'll wait and see how he adapts. All these things, you see, all the youngsters, is a massive, massive risk. And where Barcelona are financially, they're in no position to play that risk in any capacity whatsoever. So I think with Bergvall, we did the operation, we handled it to perfection. We put our best foot forward, best offer, here it is, take it or leave it. He went and found a better offer. fair enough to him. So we'll see how he does in his career, but Barcelona have lost out on Lucas Bergvall and are now going to be targeting, of course, other options. Even Deco came out yesterday before the game against Alaves saying that, the media is blown this out of proportion. We're following many youngsters like Bergvall. He's a good player. He has good talent. We gave our best offer. He said no. Whatever. We move on. There's plenty of other fish in the sea, pretty much. And I 100% agree with Deco. This is not someone that you're going to drool over. It's not like an Estavia Willian or an Endrick level of talent. Just a good talent, and you never know what happens with it. He could even go on and explode, or he could go on and absolutely flop. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. Now, along with Barcelona planning on spending big money on a pivot this summer and investing in the squad, they're also planning apparently on selling an important player, with sports saying that Barcelona will sell an important player this summer. Of course, your first option in my head is Araujo, because the offer is there from Bayern Munich. They have been tempting him now since bloody November. If that offer comes in of around 100 million, 90 million, that could definitely tempt the club. But another option could be Rafinha, with Alex Pentel from Merlivo saying that Lamine Yamal's rise has left Rafinha's future up in the air. Although the player wants to stay, he has a good name in the market and offers will be studied for him. Apparently Tottenham and other Premier League clubs have already contacted the player's entourage. For Rafinha, I'm looking at around 55, 60 million to sell him. I want to at least break even on what we invested on him, or maybe make a little bit of profit. I still think he's a brilliant player. I think numbers-wise, he's been one of Barcelona's best outputs in the final third as an attacker. And also think with Lamine Yamal's rise, tranquilo. The kid's 16. He needs some sort of competition and coverage. The only reason why Lamine Yamal's rise is because Rafinha's been injured. Keep in mind, when Rafinha was fit and he was starting week in, week out, Lamine Yamal was on the bench. Now that Rafinha went down against Osasuna, Lamine Yamal is, getting some minutes. He's now showing his ability. And yes, it's going to come with competition. So with Rafinha, I would say I would be cautious. I think probably you're looking at a center back, whether it's Araujo, Koundé, Christensen. We have, a lot of center backs coming through. You also have Eric Garcia returning from loan and things like that. I think it will be a center back that will be the big sale this summer, but don't rule out maybe a potential offer for Rafinha coming in either. Now, a player that will most likely leave Barcelona in the summer transfer window is Oriol Romeu, a player who handed in a transfer request with less than 24 hours to go in the January transfer window. Brilliant business from him. But we do have some quotes coming in from the Girona sporting director talking about Romeu. He came out saying that Romeu for me is a very important player, and for the coach the same. If we could have him back one day, we would absolutely love it very much. This winter, there were regulations that made it impossible to sign him. Plus, there was no thought on Barcelona's part to let him leave. So he kind of confirms a little bit that Girona looked into bringing back Romeu in January, but the regulations weren't really quite there in terms of FFP, and also Barcelona didn't really want to let him go. But in the summer, it could definitely be a possibility. I think, again, with Romeu, what else is there to say about him? He's been nothing short of shite this season. I think just take away August and September, one of the worst, if not the worst signing the club has ever made in their history. If you bring back August and September, he kind of, survives a little bit. But we'll wait and see what happens with Romeu. I think with the club investing in the midfield, maybe bringing in potentially Alex Garcia from Girona and an actual natural pivot, whether it's Amadou Onana, Kimmich, or Zubimendi, the services on Romeu won't be needed past the summer. Now, a surprise exit this summer could be the exit of Inaki Pena. Now, there are reports suggesting that Inaki Pena will not be Barcelona's keeper for the future. I mean, by the future, probably post Marc-Andre ter Stegen, and they could look to catch out on him this summer. Keep in mind, he has a contract until 2026 of June, so he's going to go into this summer with 2 years left on his deal, and in order for us to have the leverage and the advantage, we have to make a decision this summer. I think when an offer comes in for around 10 million euros, you absolutely take it. I think this test that Inaki Pena's had from end of November until beginning of February, he's absolutely failed with flying colors. I mean, he had a good save last night against Alaves, good save against the Pies free kick. Can't think of anything else, if I'm being honest. I think he's been nothing short of shite. Absolute shite. And I understand why the club may not want to sell him this summer, so to speak, because you have to go and then find another goalkeeper to be a backup. It's gonna, quite an annoying operation to complete. I wish we still had Arnau Antenas, but with Inaki Pena, he has no future. He's not going to be a first-team Barcelona goalkeeper. He might just survive as a second-team goalkeeper for now, but there could be one that we could bet in-house, and that is Diego Kochen, who of course is the American goalkeeper. Tony Martinez come out saying that Barcelona had renewed the contract of 17-year-old Diego Kochen, who was due to expire at the end of 2025. It will be valid until March onwards when he turns 18. The new contract will most likely be until 2028. Barcelona are very happy with his performances and have great hopes for him. The plan is for him to be the keeper of Barcelona Athletic sooner rather than later, and then potentially rise to the first team in the medium term. Now, this was, of course, was officially announced by Barcelona. They have reached an agreement with him, pre-agreement. When he turns 18 in March, he'll sign it until 2028, and also he has now agreed to join Barca Athletic from Juvenile, I think B, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we'll see Kochen get some moments, get some opportunities in the first team, especially come pre-season in the summer. But I think with Inaki Pena's future lingering here and there, he could definitely get an opportunity and, you know, seize it like Inaki Pena did when he had his moment, I believe, past Silesen, if I'm not mistaken. I think if we had Arnaud Tenas, this would be a whole entire different scenario. I wish we kind of kept Arnaud Tenas over Inaki Pena, but I think Inaki Pena was a bit more solidified at that point. He went on loan to Galatasaray, got first team minutes, where Arnaud Tenas was just with Barca Athletic the whole entire time. But we'll see what happens. But, you know, keep your eyes on the goalkeeper market this season, as the club do not have any confidence in Inaki Pena and could look to move him on. Now, despite Barcelona being very inactive in the January transfer window, profit was made on deadline day with the transfer of Sergio Akieme to Reims in France. As we all know, Akieme is a former Barcelona player, and we did end up selling him to Almeria, and the club did reserve a % of any future sale. Victor Navarro came out saying that Barcelona paid 300,000 euros for Akieme and sold him for 3.5 million to Almeria. I believe it was 2021, if I'm not mistaken, keeping, of course, a 10% of a capital gain of a future sale, and Almeria sold them for 10 million euros, which means that Barcelona owed 10% of the 6.5 million capital gain from the 3.5 million, which in total leads to 650,000 euros, which Barcelona will receive. So despite not being too active, we have earned around 700,000 euros, let's say, on Akime's transfer from Almeria to Reims. So again, this is important business. This is why you conclude these clauses on these players. You never know what happens in the future. And this is, you know, again, great business. I think this is by Matteo Alemán and Jordi Cruyff at the time, so credit where it's due to them. But Barcelona did earn around 650,000 euros from Akime's transfer from Almeria to Reims. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. First, we do have some updates on the adaptation period of Vitor Roque, with Gabriel Sanz and Roberto Toledo from Mundo Deportivo coming out saying that Vitor Roque is doing his best to adapt to Barcelona quickly, and his teammates are helping him a lot. The Brazilian has settled in the upper area of the city with his parents, sister, and wife, and he is taking Spanish lessons. He has been very close to Rafinha, Cancelo, Felix, Araujo, who speak Portuguese. Veterans like Lewandowski and Roberto are also involved in making him feel at home, and other youngsters have also connected with him as well. From the dressing room, they assured that Vitor Roque listens to Xavi's advice and exploit his game whenever needed. Again, Barcelona have brought in Vitor Roque a bit early instead of the summer, which they originally planned for in January, to help him adapt as soon as possible. That way, when the new season starts in the summer, he's fully integrated, got a house, speaks the language maybe a little bit, knows his team, knows the structure and system. He can fully fit, ready to go for next season. But of course, he's coming now. He has a few minutes here and there. He's got 2 goals in the past 2 games against Osasuna and Deportivo Alaves. But of course, he was sent off against Alaves last night, and we do have an update coming in on that red card. Tony Juan Martin saying that Xavi has confirmed that Barcelona will appeal Vitor Roque's red card. Of course, they will appeal the second yellow card that he received, which was absolutely scandalous beyond belief. I think the referee's report, he said that Vitor Roque stepped on the player, which he didn't at all. So with the referee reports and with the evidence that we do have, hopefully we can get that red card overturned to just a simple yellow, and then he could be available for the match against Granada. If not, he will be suspended, of course, just for 1 game, since it is a second yellow red card. So against Granada, he will miss out. He'll be back for Celta Vigo, and of course, in the Napoli game later on in February. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. We'll probably get official confirmation, of course. I would say Wednesday, Thursday-ish. It will be, of course, before the match against Granada. But again, Vitor Roque is having a good week so far, getting some goals, adapting well, and hopefully it just goes up from here. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. Of course, in the match last night, we did suffer some blows to Ilkay Gundogan and Joao Cancelo, but following the match, Xavi confirmed that in the match there were no new injuries suffered. Gundogan had a knock in his back, but it was nothing. Pedri was replaced because he was tired. We saw some clips of Pedri having an ice pack on his leg, and that's why he brought on Fermin Lopez. And also after the match, Javi Miguel from AES confirmed that Joao Cancelo is expected to be available against Granada. Again, just a little bit of a knock for him, nothing too serious for that matter. Thank God we survived that game. I think an injury to Gundogan and Cancelo, and we would have been absolutely finished. But we do have some updates in regards to the other injury players who have been put on the sidelines officially. This is all coming in from Gabriel Sanz from Deportivo. He came out saying that Joao Felix could arrive for the first leg of the Champions League round 16 against Napoli, which will be played on February the 21st. If not, he'll be back afterwards. So hopefully we can see Felix back by the end of this month. I think worst case scenario, it will be around beginning of March. With Indigo, he'll be back against Alaves. Of course, he was back against Alaves, played around 10 minutes. Happy to have him back. With Ter Stegen, he is expected to return against Granada this Sunday. The journey of Inaki Pena is finally ending. I am so relieved. So hopefully we'll see El Capitano Ter Stegen back in goal this weekend. And with Rafinha, he will be back for the following match against Celta Vigo on the 17th. So with Rafinha, he'll get some minutes probably against Celta Vigo, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Will he start against Napoli? That's going to be a risk coming down to Xavi and his coaching staff as well. I don't really see Rafinha starting the game against Napoli unless he plays more than 20 minutes against Celta Vigo the weekend before. So we'll wait and see on that. With Ferran Torres as well, the reports are suggesting that Ferran Torres hopefully will be back around the end of February, beginning of March, kind of on the same timeline as Joao Felix. He is not rushing himself, but he really wants to be back for the game against Napoli, which is not impossible, but very difficult. So we'll wait and see on that. So slowly but surely, we are recovering some players, and hopefully by the March international break, we'll have a fully fit squad, barring of course Xavi and Alejandro Balde, who are out for the rest of the season. But by then, hopefully we will have recovered the majority of our injured players. Now we've entered the segment where we're going to be talking about Barcelona's replacement and search for a new manager from now until probably the end of the season, when we get linked with managers every single day. I might have to call this section of the video its own category, because until we announce or pick a new manager, there's going to be rumors week in, week out. Now, firstly, on Xavi, according to Javi Miguel from AS, who of course is very close to Xavi, he's come out saying that Xavi will probably take a year off after he leaves Barcelona this summer. Then he'll return to coaching in Europe, maybe the Premier League being his dream. He has decided that he will not coach a club in Spain except for Barcelona, and he does not rule out coming back in the future. So we might see Xavi maybe Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga 1, Premier League. We won't see him coach another Spanish team. May go back to Qatar, Dubai, the Saudi League. He has plethora of options. I would love to see Xavi in the Premier League for maybe a top 10 club like a Aston Villa, Newcastle, or maybe even a United or whatever the case may be. Xavi's English is of course a very good, so he can definitely survive and cope there for sure. So Xavi expected to take about a year off and then of course be back in management, and does not rule out a return to Barcelona in the future. Now, in terms of the replacement, the links haven't been concrete with these names, but they have been linked to Barcelona. Firstly is Sergio Coensao, of course, the Porto manager. Apparently, according to reports in Portugal, saying that Sergio Coensao will leave his post as Porto manager at the end of the season. And in Porto, they are saying that he is a big favorite to take over Xavi at Barcelona. The Spain reports, Gabriel Sanz, Mundo Deportivo, are all saying that Coensao is not an option that's very strong in any capacity whatsoever. But in Portugal, they are linking him with the Barcelona job, but he is expected to leave Porto in the summer, so we'll wait and see how things turn out about that. But I will say this, the most outrageous name we have been linked with since Xavi said in the press conference that I am leaving at the end of the season is bloody Frank Rijkaard. According to Radio Marca, Laporta has reached out to his former manager Frank Rijkaard to replace Xavi. This definitely is not the case. I'm bringing this up just for banter, if I'm being honest. I don't think Rijkaard's been in the job since 2013, so it makes no sense to bring in someone who has 10 years without a job. I think, honestly, I would do... Frank Rijkaard, legend of the club, of course. I think if he were to come in as a manager, or me, I promise you, I would do a better job. Now, finally, we do have some reports on Imanol Alguacil, who came out in the media after he was asked about potentially being the Barcelona manager. He said that, look, I'm at the best club I can be at. I'm very appreciated and delighted to be here. I want to continue making history, and I hope to extend my contract with Sociedad soon. He's very much a Sociedad born and bred player. I think he played there throughout his whole entire career, came through the academy, coached the B team, like twice, the C team. He was the interim coach, then became the head coach. He ain't leaving Sociedad. And also very happy about that, because I would not take Alguacil at Barcelona. Yes, he's a good manager, but again, reminds me a lot of that Valverde step where he kind of adapts to the bigger culture of Barcelona, attracting players in the summer and, making your mark and, having that aura with you. He doesn't really have that. So I think Alguacil is at his level. He's at his place. He's happy. I don't really see him being as a strong contender to the Barcelona coach job. I think Barcelona admire him. I think Barcelona like him, but I don't think he'll become, top 5 options once we hit, March international break, where this manager news is going to get absolutely crazy. Now, we do have some updates in regards to the Negreira case, where there are reports coming in saying the Anti-Corruption Prosecution Office opposes the investigation of Barcelona for bribery in the Negreira case, concluding that Jose Maria Enrique Negreira does not have the status of a public official that the crime requires. So, yeah, again, another W for Barcelona in the Negreira case. I mean, I don't know how many more we need. We're getting to a point now where it's kind of damaging our reputation on the pitch. I think Xavi even mentioned it after the game against Alaves, and the Negreira case is putting a lot of pressure on the referees and not favoring us, but they're being very much unfair to us with this news. Again, no concrete evidence that we paid referees to make decisions in our favor in any capacity whatsoever, and it will continue to stay like that. So we'll wait and see how things progress. I think it still will go to court, of course, but from the anti-prosecution office, anti-corruption in Spain, they have basically, deemed Negreira not a public official. So of course the crimes are not there whatsoever. Now, the final topic that I wanted to discuss before I end off this video is to discuss Joan Laporta's interview with Raccoon that he did, I believe, on Friday morning. Of course, we are into Sunday. Apologies, we have a game, so I didn't have time to react to this interview. The interview is very, very long. I'm going to go through it because he talks about a lot of key quotes, key opinions, and key updates around the club. Let's not beat around the bush, and let's get right into this. A lot of reading for me, so I'm just going to get right into it. So he starts off by saying he was asked about, the current situation of the club. He said, about Xavi and all that stuff. He said, look, I'm busy, but I'm not worried. The situation can still be reversed if we still not thrown in the towel. If we win in the Victoria, we'll still be able to fight for La Liga. I found out about Xavi's goodbye when I went down to the locker room after the Villarreal game. I listened to him carefully because Xavi, he's an honest person and someone who loves Barcelona. I saw that he had reflected on it and that he had a lot of pressure on him. He thought it would be the best thing for the players, for the pressure, to free himself, and that was the best thing to do for the club. On FFP, yes, if we comply with fair play at this stage, it is planned that we'll be able to achieve without the need to sell players. When we arrived, we had 500 million losses and 1.5 million in debt. Of course, million, they mean 1.5 billion in debt. If last year we already made profits and we responded with our funds with a significant amount and we restructured the debt, and now we're on the right path. We have reduced the debt with the league from 1.8 billion, and we've now reduced the wage bill as well to 172 million. Of course, the wage bill initially was 652 million. To have fair play, we have to have results positive, which is why we had to thank the levers. It is true that now we will reduce the salary mass, which is what La Liga allows us. So, like he says there, it is planned that we will achieve without the need to sell players. We don't need to sell players this summer if everything goes to plan from now until the summer. So when you see, maybe Araujo gets sold, Rafinha, Christensen, Koundé, and the club say, oh, they had to because of FFP, that is not the case according to the president. On the next coach, Laporta said, I also say Xavi, Laporta said, this is in Deco's hand at this moment. I fully trust Xavi until the end of the season. We'll have to participate in this formula, and the best way to participate is by believing. So for now, Laporta, I almost said Xavi again. For now, Laporta has fully put Deco in charge of finding a new manager. Very, very interesting. On the coach, Laporta says, I've not spoken with any coach. This is the job of Deco. The options are limited, but this must be asked of Deco. Rafa Marquez is not ruled out because he's doing a very good job. He is training at home, and he knows the players who are being traded, and that is an asset that Rafa has that no one else does have. The club has prepared the emergency plan with the reserve team. I did not regret the departure of Garcia Pimienta, who is a great coach, who has been trained at home, but I don't regret it. Rafa Marquez is having a great stage. So, Laporta does have an emergency option in the event that Rafa Marquez does take over the first team, another coach, maybe another player that he has a good connection with and has his coaching badges done, all that sort of stuff. But he says that I have not spoken to any coach yet, and again, hiring a new coach will come down to Deco. So Deco remember we talked about Deco joining Barcelona as a sporting director in the summer, that he wanted full reign, full control, and full decision making on everything, and Laporta is backing him. So we'll see what Deco decides. Now, on the budget, Laporta says that more sponsors arrive, which are arriving, sales of players, and the Barca vision that is somewhat biased. Liberal Football Finance paid 20 million of the 60 million they owed us, but they did not pay the other 40 million euros, which was due, of course, at the end of December, which was due before the end of the year. And now we have sued, but does not mean that we don't want to have fair play, because we are reducing the entity general expenses by 22%, and we are looking very well. So again, he confirms that Liberal Football Finance did not make the 40 million euro payment that they had to make, and that Barcelona had begun legal proceedings against them. On the Barcelona model, the association model is Barcelona, and I am guaranteed that Barcelona will not be a SAD, which of course state-owned institution. Investors highly value this feeling of the members. It is something unique. We do not want to be a mix like Bayern Munich. We don't want to have companies. We've already have them. We will make them participate in the line of the business without being inside the club. Bayern for me is in the wrong model. Why do you have to have companies that have 20 or 30% of the club? The club belongs to the members, and hopefully does stay like that for Barcelona forever. On Nike, this is where stuff just goes down. We have a situation that is not desirable because they do not replace our material, and because competitors pay us double of what Nike would pay us. So he's basically saying that Puma is willing to offer double of what Nike is offering, or the current contract that we have with Nike, which is crazy. To terminate the contract is what being considered. We have been for 20 so years now with Nike, but at this moment it's difficult. Nike have not shown up for us. As soon as we told them that the market pays much more, they made an effort, and we thanked them, but it's not enough. There are options to continue with Nike, to take the market offers us and make a third party that would be doing ourselves through BLM. We already have we've already made our own closes, and we don't want to rule out this option, although there are safer options, which is what the market gives us. We have to have e-commerce, not the brand that pays us, all with absolute respect for Nike. He's basically saying that when the club was down really bad, Nike did not help us. That's the first thing. Secondly, the club could do their own merchandising with BLM, which we of course talked about on the channel a few months ago, but it's just so complicated to do. It puts a lot of stress and pressure on the club. When you just get a sponsor and they do everything, it's much easier. And again, Nike want to work with Barcelona, maybe offer them a bit more money, but Laporta is saying it wasn't enough. So let's say what the deal with Nike we have right now is 100 million. Puma are offering 200. Laporta went to Nike. Puma are offering 200. What can you do? They're at 100 Nike. Oh, we'll give you 110 million. Like, thanks for the offer, but it's, the gesture, you could say, but it's not enough whatsoever. So we'll wait to see what happens with the Nike. Crazy scenes there. On a supply, the Barca is fundamental for the viability of the club as it is now. If we are in a series at the end of the season, we will play it again at the Spotify Camp Nou. We don't want to have a set date, but at the end of the year, we are in 208 million euros in sponsorship. It's an historic amount. So he's saying at some point at the end of this year, we will be at the Spotify Camp Nou. He does not want to set a date exactly, but so far everything is on track. On the Negreira case, I have no idea about Mr. Negreira. Did not have any decision on the referee. I'm sure that Barcelona will be acquitted. It is a campaign orchestrated not only by Madrid but also by La Liga, in which I'm still in. With the Super League, we aim to be able to compete with the state clubs who are going bankrupt. I agree that we are in a management that has not been acquitted, but even so, we do not receive enough. I will say this though. If Joan Laporta was not the president of Barcelona, I think we would have been fucked. I think we would have been absolutely finished. Where was Tony Freya, Victor Fort, even Piqué, myself? If anyone was the Barcelona president from 2021 until now, I think the club would have been dead and buried a long time ago. And this is why I think, alongside Messi, Joan Laporta is one of the most historical figures of Barcelona. Now on Madrid, of course, referees and stuff like that, that Madrid's not behaving well. Jorge Cuenca Aguirre had the request of Real Madrid, has extended his reservation period before the end of this year. One of the appearing in the case Madrid, of whom 70 of the president of the referee control for years, do not have to accept it. I have not spoken with Florentino Perez since the Super Cup. We do not talk about this yet because it did not happen, and we did talk about the Super League at the Super Cup. So again, Madrid are absolutely all over the place, and yet again, they just like to deflect the blame and just look at Barcelona essentially. Now on the Super League, Joan Laporta did say if it's not in the start of the 24-25 season, it will be for the 25-26 season. If not, I will rethink everything. For me, the fact that the English club do not come makes it uncomfortable. You have to make a proposal to a club just for participating. You have to tell them you will win 100 million euros, that you can't be even won by the Champions League. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter, Milan, Napoli, Roma, Marseille, and 3 Dutch teams. I think he said PSV, Ajax, and Feyenoord, Club Brugge, and also Anderlecht. These are the 16 of the 18 teams so far. The Cup in Europe in 1995, very few clubs participated in it. Then it became the competition par excellence in Europe. I imagine the first phase like this, that it integrated. I want to organize the Super League in 2025 is because the English are for the work are participating, because it is representing a qualitative leap in the survival of the world of football. So he's saying pretty much if the Super League isn't here by 2026, then it's probably not going to happen at all. He was then asked on Lucas Bergvall joining Tottenham. I don't know why, but he was asked, look, he's a great player. Deco's been following him for a long time now. Tottenham made an offer with much more money. Our proposal was to play in the reserve and then with the dynamics of looking into the first team, but we did not want to go into a financial bidding war with Tottenham. Fair enough. Then asked on the Joao staying permanently, of course, Joao Felix, Joao Cancelo, and he said Deco is working on it. On players who are non-transferable, he said that today there are all the Barcelona players are non-transferable. At the end of the season, of course, we will see, but today they are all non-transferable. We're not going to give up on the league, and we want to fight for the Champions League. So that's hitting his arse right on the fence there. He's then asked on possibly giving a tribute to Leo Messi in the future. He said that when Messi wants a tribute, we will give it to him. Then asked on Pep possibly coming back to Barcelona. He said that he has a contract and he will fulfill it with Manchester City. He's asked on the executives, that we have top executives with executive president, which is for me, with the executives and the executive decisions such as marketing vice presidents or social vice president is working. We have updated the census. We today have 130,000 regularized members, of which 145,000 we are here. All decisions have been made at the level of efficiency and consensus as well. Then as on the Montjuic numbers, the numbers are not coming out. We have recorded entries, but the capacity is half of the Camp Nou. The fans are giving all their support, and more the viability is what it is. It is not most suitable field for football spectator, but ticketing and generating is what we can generate and what we were missing on achieving, which is what we've already said, that we are at 208 million euros plus a Palau Blaugrana, which does not stop, of course. Then as on Alejandro Echeverri in the club as well, saying he does not get paid. He's my brother-in-law and a person that I trust very much. He's a great representative of, he has a great relationship, with many players. He does not form a part of the sporting administration, which is made up of Deco, Borjan, and Enric Masip. Finally, he was asked on Alexia Putellas' renewal, which again is still on standby at the moment, and he said that we want her to renew. She also wants to stay at the club, and we want her to stay with the parameters of the capacity of the club. It is a section in which we have increased the budget for. So that's the interview. I think overall gave us some great updates, of course, on the numbers of the club, behind the scenes, the Nike deal, what we're going to do with Messi in the future as well. I think the main part of that was him saying that Deco, full control for him on who will be the new manager, and for me that is a big update for sure. I think overall spoke very well, gave us those correct updates, didn't beat around the bush or hide anything, was as transparent as he possibly could. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. But the main thing I want to see, of course, is your thoughts on the signing of a top pivot this summer. Who would you go for, and who do you think is a more realistic option that Barcelona will pursue at the moment? Secondly, your thoughts on the left back signing this summer. Who would you prioritize? Sergio Cardona, Alex Valle, maybe another option that you have in mind. Thirdly, your thoughts on the bloody new manager. Who do you genuinely think it will be? And find your thoughts on Laporta's interview, on the update he gave. I think those were good updates. It was as transparent as I think he was. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.